Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Nedarim Pei Aleph. We are holding at the fifth line from the top of the Amud. We're picking up from where we left off yesterday, regarding maintaining hygiene and proper cleanliness pertaining to one's self or one's clothing. Sholchu mitam, the Chachamim of Eretz Yisrael sent over the following lesson, the following message to the Bnei Bavel. It pays to be careful and extra conscientious when it comes to the following three items. Number one, Hizaharu be'arbu visa, which literally means mixing up, but here it means take care to maintain a clean body, bathe and wash properly, as well as clean clothing. In fact, the Gemara yesterday tells us that lack of hygiene in terms of wardrobe can be severely impactful, can be very detrimental in negatively affecting a person's emotional and mental status, and can even be more detrimental than lack of hygiene on one's person. Interesting point yesterday. So begadim should be clean at all times. It enwraps the person, that's what the person is exposed to. At least begadim should be clean. In any case, the way the Ran puts it, be careful to maintain a clean guf, bathe and wash properly, and likewise clean clothing. That's number one. Number two, one should ideally learn Torah in a group setting, b'chabura. The Ran says when you have people around you, especially Talmidim, they're machadadim zezeh ve'esarav. There's give and take. There's sharing of knowledge, and it benefits all attendees. So rather than learning alone, a person should try to learn in a chabura setting, in a yeshiva, in a beis medrash, in a kollel. Number three, hizaharu b'vnei aniyim. We should be appreciative. We should value sons of poor families, since they don't have much distraction. That actually enables them to grow to great heights in Torah. Shemeihem, because specifically from these children, Teitzei Torah. Torah will come out of them. They will achieve great heights. We find this in a pasuk. Shenemar Yizal Mayim B'Dolyoy. Water will flow out of its pails, and we have a drasha. Yizal Mayim Midalim. Dalim are poor people. Shemeihem Teitzei Torah. Asks the Gemara, why is it that we find some very strange phenomenon that you have Talmidei Chachamim, and it isn't very often, it isn't very common, in fact, that a Talmid Chacham's son will actually be emulating his father? Why is it so that Ein Mesuyin Talmidei Chachamim, we hardly find a Talmid Chacham that is Lotzeis Talmidei Chachamim Bneim, that their children as well will be Talmidei Chachamim? Why isn't it so? You would think that naturally son follows father, father is a Talmid Chacham, likewise a son. Why isn't it so? For the most part, it is not so. It's an exception, when in fact we find Talmid Chacham son of a Talmid Chacham father. It would seem to be counter logic. Why is it so? Omer of Yosef, there's a reason for it. Hashem configures it this way for a specific reason. Number one, that people, outsiders, shouldn't resign to the fact that, it's an inheritance, it's in the genes, that's for them, not for me. Torah Yerusha Hilahem. Once you see that the Torah just carries over from father to son, it's a generational thing, it's a family thing. Hashem doesn't want that to be the impression, and therefore we don't find this happening too often. Rav Sheshes brother of Idi Omer, Kadesh Lo Yizgadru Al Tzibur. There's always a concern that if in fact father and son toe the same line, they're both prominent Talmidei Chachamim, that might generate an element of haughtiness, of gava, a feeling of supremacy. And therefore Hashem doesn't want that to happen. And He doesn't allow the Torah to be carried over to His son in the same measure as the father has it. Because for that very reason that a Talmid Chacham sometimes actually considers himself, supreme, and he has gava on the rest of the community. As an einish, as a punishment for that attitude, he perhaps is not zoicha to see his child pick up and continue in the same path. Another version of the same idea. There's a tendency, perhaps, chas v'shalom, amongst Talmid Chachamim to degrade other members of the community, speak to them in a condescending fashion. You're donkeys, unlearned donkeys. As a result of that attitude, the einish is no sons Talmid Chachamim. Ravina Omer, here comes something very profound. Sure, these Talmid Chachamim are immersed in Torah day and night, but with what type of attitude? Is it really lishma? Is it really in order to develop a relationship with Hashem? Is Torah bonding them to Hashem, or is it just, an intellectual exercise? And if it is so, they are really not zoicha to internalize that Torah to the extent that it will carry on to their children. She'ein mevarchen b'Torah tchila. They neglect to make birchas HaTorah prior to learning, which would be indicative of their feelings towards Torah, their chashivas HaTorah. They're realizing that Torah is connected to Hashem. So an absence of that attitude is just a relatively hollow experience, which doesn't garner them the same schus, and therefore they're not zoich. Dam Rabbi Yehuda Amarav, as we find in the following discussion, how important it is to have this proper attitude of kedusha, of tahara, of dveikus when learning Torah. How do we interpret the pasuk in Yirmiyah, describing what happened when Klal Yisrael was sent into Gullus? Why, in fact, was the land abandoned? What happened? Mia ish hachacham v'yavan azois. Who's a wise man who can truly get to the bottom of what happened, the cause of Gullus? So the Gemara says, Davar zeh nishal hachachamim v'leneviim. If you look in the pasuk, you see that nobody knew the answer. Not the chachamim, not the neviim. Everybody was presented with this question. V'loi pirshu, nobody had a proper answer. Ad shepirsha kadosh baruch hu ba'atzmo until Hashem Himself responded and explained. T'chsiv vayemer Hashem. We needed Hashem to explain what happened. Hashem answers, because they abandoned Torah, not necessarily abandoned learning Torah, but they abandoned the proper regard and respect for Torah. Vayemer Hashem al ozmas teirasi. They left go of the Torah, and the pasuk continues. They failed to listen to my voice. They did not walk in the ways of Torah. Isn't this a repetition? Not listening to me, not going in the ways of Torah is the same thing. Why the repetition? The pasuk means something else. Sure, they learned. Sure, they kept mitzvahs. Rather, pasuk is telling you, the cause of Gullus was she'ein mevarchen b'Torah tchila. They failed to say birchas HaTorah, which was indicative of their lack of chashivas, their lack of appreciation of what's going on when we learn Torah. And that's very important. That's crucial, a crucial ingredient to properly succeed in Torah, to realize that Torah is connected to Hashem. There's a beautiful run here, off to the left, about 2 lines below our position in the Gemara. So it's like halfway down the Amid here. Davar zeh nishal hachacham. Perhaps we'll see the run inside. Beautiful run. V'loi pirshu. V'chsiv vayemer Hashem al ozmas teirasi, says the run. The fact that the pasuk depicts it as Hashem's response. Mechlal delekal diyad la duretama ella kutcha brichu v'chud. Apparently, everybody was stumped. Nobody could properly explain what happened except for Hashem Himself. Umatzah siba megilas storim shel Rabbeinu Yonah Zal. The run quotes the famous Rishon Rabbeinu Yonah, who explains like this. In fact, we see this lesson within the words of the pasuk. And in fact, this was the cause, the lack of birchas HaTorah. Why? Because if you learn the phrase azvam terasi literally, mashma she'azvas HaTorah, Which seems to say that they just abandoned Torah. They didn't learn Torah. They didn't keep the Torah. Well, if that's the case, then it's clear and evident to all. It's not a mystery. So then when the question was presented to the wise men of the generation, what's the problem? Why couldn't they give an answer? Well, it's pretty easy to explain what happened. Look, nobody's keeping the Torah. If that's in fact what happened. Ella, the fact that they had such a difficult time coming to terms with what happened, the fact that they were lacking explanation until Hashem explained it, indicates that it was much more complicated than that. They were certainly heavily involved in learning Torah. And as a result of that, it was a quandary, it was a mystery to all. That generated this wonder, what's going on here? That's why we needed Hashem's response. Hashem, who sees past superficiality, he sees internally. Hashem Kaviyachal has that X-ray vision to tell us what's going on inside our hearts, and that was lacking. Hearts were lacking. Feeling was gone. Relationship was not being nurtured. Says Ran. He knows what's going on deep inside. He says. What does that mean? Lack of bracha denotes lack of chashivas. It wasn't learning with that true appreciation of dveikas b'Hashem. It was interesting. It was a nice exercise in academia, intellectuality, but it wasn't for developing with Hashem a relationship. And that explains the rest of the pasuk. Means they didn't go and heard. They didn't experience the Torah itself the way it's meant to be experienced. Elu divrei harav zal, hachasid zal. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda, and the Ran answers. Ran responds. Veheim noim v'ru'uyin l'mishaimram. And in fact, this explanation is beautiful and is very appropriate. It's apropos to the one who said it, Rabbi Yehuda, a chassid, who lived what he preached. Torah lishma. And that was lacking. You know, something astounding. The Maharal also presents it this way. When he brings this chazal, he says, Lo berach b'Torah tchila means not just that they forgot to make berachas HaTorah. Sometimes you can learn and learn and learn, and you're so busy with learning that you're forgetting that the point of learning is to connect to Hashem. They forgot Hashem, so to speak, Chas v'Shalom, when they learned the Torah. That's what the Maharal writes in the Hakdama to one of his Sfarim, I think Netzach Yisrael. So that's the point of the Gemara. And that explains why many times we find, that the Torah doesn't carry over from one generation to the next, because very often it is lacking in this true experience of Biruch b'Torah Tchila, and this connection to Hashem, which allows the Torah to be absorbed within the person, and then and only then can in fact be carried over to the next generation. Continues the Gemara. Let's go back to the Chiddush of Rabbi Yossi that we learned yesterday. Lack of personal hygiene, lack of rechitza, etc., as uncomfortable as it may be, as annoying as it may be, it's not considered inui nefesh, because according to Rabbi Yossi, inui nefesh pertains to internal things, eating and drinking, but not something which is external, even as important as maintaining hygiene. However, even Rabbi Yossi agrees, maintaining clean begadim is of utmost importance. In fact, it's even more important and takes higher priority over personal hygiene, which is a pretty astounding approach to things. And in fact, we have a story. Isi bar Yehuda, that was his name. He failed to arrive at the yeshiva Rabbi Yossi for 3 days. He was absent for 3 days. Apparently he was a regular, and suddenly he's not here for 3 days in a row. Ashkari Vardimus Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi had a son by the name of Vardimus, who meets up with Isi ben Yehuda Amarle, he asks, Isi, where are you? My time it's 3 days. You haven't come to the shir. What happened? Amarle, so Isi explains. You know, the reason is because I can't fully understand. You know, your father says interesting things, and I can't. I don't appreciate. You know, the underlying concepts behind it. It's pretty mechudesh to me. And how can I come if I don't appreciate what he's teaching? Amarle, so Vardimus attempted to pacify him and to allay his concerns. He says, "Look, let me try to explain my father's halach. Leimamar, my Amarle, tell me please what my father told you. Perhaps I'll be successful in presenting. Perhaps I'll know the reason for the halacha. I'll give you the source." Amarle, he says, "Okay, give it a try." This is what I heard from him. Hadasanya. We have a brayse. Rabbi Yehuda. So we have a town with limited water resources, and Rabbi Yehuda says, "Look, there's a hierarchy, a scale of priorities. The local townspeople have a right to use that water for their laundering purposes, to keep their clothing clean. So for themselves they have enough. Let's say there's just a little bit more. A choice. Can we use it for our own clothing purposes, or share it with our neighbors in the next village who need it for their own personal consumption as drinking water? Who comes first? You would think drinking comes first. That's more important. It's more crucial. No, says Rabbi Yehuda. We have a right to divert the leftover water supply for our kvisa, for laundering our clothing, which is very important. Maintaining clean clothing is crucial to maintaining one's mental health, as we explained before. Therefore, says Rabbi Yehuda, son, laundering the local villagers' clothing is more important. Is koidman, takes priority, it supersedes l'chai achirim, more important than even providing drinking water for the people in the next village. That's a big chiddush criminal, and that has to be coming from a pasuk that indicates the importance of laundering clothing. Where's the pasuk? Amalei, he said, guess what? That was a good answer and a good question. I happen to know the answer. The Torah describing the outskirts, the area outside, ringing the cities given to the Leviim in Eretz Yisrael. That's the Migrashim. It's meant to be used as a grazing area for the behemoths and the chayos. My chayosim. What does the Torah mean when it says for chayos? Ilay mechaya, literally chayos. Well, halay chaya, valay chaya b'chal behema. Typically, we don't list them separately. While chaya is usually included in behema, which is a sort of an umbrella term for all livestock. So why would the Torah has to specify the migrash is meant for the behema and the chaya? Chaya b'chal behema. Ella. My chayasam, chayusam. Apparently, when the pasuk describes the migrash as serving chayasam, means for their own personal use. The residents of the town. Pshita. Well, obviously, it's meant for their personal use. Well, why does the pasuk have to, go into this? Elolav kvisa. Oh, apparently the pasuk here is stressing to us there's something called chayasam, something which is crucial for one's, well-being. Laundering clothing. The ikat tzara dabravisa, as we explained yesterday, a lack of hygiene in terms of wardrobe. This ervovism, the dirt that's present, can be very detrimental to one's emotional and mental status, and therefore it's so crucial to have clean clothing. And this, in fact, is what the Torah is referring to when it says chayosam. It's chiyos. It's so part of life. And that was Rabbi Yehuda's source, that kvisa is so important and therefore it takes priority, and they can divert their limited water supply to washing their clothing rather than sharing it with their neighbors. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda, ein elu nidrei nefesh. So back to the Mishnah. We speak about rechitza, where Tanakama says a lack of rechitza, a lack of bathing, it's called inei nefesh. It's annoying, it's painful, creates discomfort. And in fact, a husband can intercede and be mefer, apply hafara. He could cancel, could uproot a neder expressed by his wife, which involves lack of bathing. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. That's not called inei nefesh. Inei nefesh refers to something internal, like eating and drinking, but otherwise, as uncomfortable as it may be, but it's not called inei nefesh and doesn't justify hafaras nidar. Question: Iboilu. The Bnei Yeshiva wanted to know, to what extent is Rabbi Yossi disabling Hafaras Nedarim in this case? The Rabbi Yossi Mao Sheyafer Mishum Dvarim Shebein Elubina. Sure, it's not called Inin Nefesh, but perhaps it can be reclassified. It's something which, does get in the way of their interpersonal relationship. Right? So perhaps something which disrupts their personal interaction. That's called Dvarim Shebein Elubina. Does. Right? We know it does enable Hafara, although it's more limited than Inin Nefesh, as we're going to see later on Amud Beis. So the question is, even Rabbi Yossi, who does not consider this to be Inin Nefesh, but perhaps does he consider it to be Binei L'Bina? In which case, husband can still step in and do Hafara. Tashma, Rabbi Yossi, Ein Elu Nidre Inin Nefesh. These aren't examples of Inin Nefesh. Aval Dvarim Shebenoi L'Bina Havyan, but it is considered something which disrupts their interaction. And therefore, ultimately, he can do Hafaras Nedarim. Is that a raya? Says the Gemara, perhaps not. Dilma, perhaps. Rabbi Yossi was not really expressing his own personal sentiment. Lididu kamarlu. He was just relating to the Chachamim on their wavelength. Lididi, my personal opinion is that afilu dvarim shebenei lebenei lehavyan. These activities or lack of are not considered benei lebenei. You can manage even under these circumstances. It's not important enough to do Hafaras Nedarim. That's my personal opinion. But you, Chachamim, lididchu damrisa, you who maintain the havyan, Nidri Inin Nefesh, who consider this to be Inin Nefesh, I want to tone it down. I want to downgrade it. Oidilu, please, Oidili, agree to me. De'ein Elu Nidri Inin Nefesh. It's not Inin Nefesh. Don't exaggerate. It's not Inin Nefesh. Perhaps it's called Binei L'Bina. It gets in the way of their marriage, but it's not called Inin Nefesh. So please agree to me on that. Of course, the Chacham disagree. They consider it to be Inin Nefesh. But at the end of the day, you don't really know what Rabbi Yossi himself had in mind in terms of his personal position. Maybe he himself would not consider a lack of rechitza to be even something which is classified as binei l'bina. So what's the conclusion? Yes. Although we don't consider it inin nefesh, but it is considered binei l'bina. Lack of rechitza, lack of applying cosmetics, etc. And therefore husband can do hafara. Ravuna Amar ein mefer, no, he cannot do hafara. We don't even consider it binei l'bina, because ultimately he can survive. Shalom atzinu shual. We don't never find this is a mashal of a fox going into his foxhole where there might be some dirt on the way in. Even if he stumbles upon his dirt, it's not going to harm him. He's familiar with the area. Shalom atzinu shual shameis b'afapir. We never find a fox dying because he's confronted with some dirt at the opening of pir of his a foxhole. He's familiar with the area. He knows how to get around it. Likewise, the husband can manage even under these circumstances. So we have machlekes going regarding an isha who commits to abstaining from rechitza or tachshitin. According to Tanakama, that's called inui nefesh. Husband can totally destroy the neder. According to Rabbi Yossi, it's not inui nefesh, but it is considered binei l'bina, which allows the husband limited access to the neder. Yes, no, we have a machlekes amaray. Tanika was said Rav Bar Ava. We have a right to Rav Bar Ava. Yes, it is considered binei l'bina, which allows him access to the neder. So first, the Brisa will present the general, rule. There are two categories of nedarim pertaining to hafaras nedarim between husband and wife. First is dvarim sheish ben inin nefesh, things which pain and cause inin nefesh to the isha, in which case the husband has a blank check on that. Mayfair bein binei l'bina, you can do hafara whether it's something that affects them too. Bein binei l'binachem, or affects her relationship with other people. If it's inin nefesh, he can knock it off. But otherwise, she'ein bein inin nefesh, if it's not classified as inin nefesh, then it depends. Binei l'bina, if it interferes with their relationship, mayfair, he can do that hafara pertaining to his relationship with her. Binei l'binachem, but if it only affects her relationship with others, then it's out of his control. Ein mayfair, he has no access to that. So that's a general sort of opening statement to this brisa, which will follow with 4 separate categories in terms of different types of nedarim and his ability or lack of ability to do hafara. We have one case where he can do hafara, another case where he can't, another case where he can do a limited hafara pertaining to his something which impacts him, right? The aspect of his impact. And number 4, where there's no need to do hafara because she has no right to do that neder. It contravenes her commitment to him. So 4 separate levels. Kesa. Let's have some examples. First one is where he can do hafara, an absolute hafara, because it's called ini nefesh. Amra koinam peros alay. She says fruit is usher to me. Here is a yafar. He can do hafara. This is called ini nefesh. Next example, where he cannot do hafara because it doesn't impact him and it's not called ini nefesh. It lacks any of these 2 conditions, which is koinim she'ein oisel piyabo. The hana, serving your father, it's usher. I can't serve your father. Sorry, my father. L'fnei achicha, or to your brother. L'fnei avicha, I won't serve your father. L'fnei achicha, l'fnei achi, my brother. So all these are not ini nefesh. It doesn't hurt anybody, and it doesn't hurt her. And it's not called b'nei l'bina. It's none of his business. Another example is I won't feed the hay to your animal. That's not her obligation. That's not something which he can discount. Or serve water to your livestock. In all these, we say her husband has no right to do hafara. It's not ini nefesh. It's not b'nei l'bina. A third example is dvarim sheb'nei l'bina. Shalei ekchel, shalei efkois, shalei shamash mitasi. I won't interact with you as married. I won't beautify my eyes. Ekchel, efkois. I won't tend to my hair. In these, we say yafer. He has the right to step in. Mishum dvarim sheb'nei l'bina. It's something which pertains to their marriage. In the 4th case, we have something which she can't even do. It never takes off. And therefore, there's no need for hafaras nedarim. Things which she's committed to do in terms of her marriage, agreement. I'm not going to make your bed. I'm not serving. I'm going to serve you the drink. I'm not going to, wash your face, hands, and feet. Which are activities which Anisha is required to do, which engenders endearment. In all these, we say ein tzorach lahaf. Her husband has no need to do hafara because she's committed. And his shibud, his claim, sort of supersedes her neder. There's no need to do a first nedarim. It doesn't stick. Rabbi Gamliel Omer Yafer. He says he should do the hafara, although perhaps he's not required by Torah, but he should do so to highlight, the severity of doing a neder. Don't just, trash it. Do a hafara, which indicates that yes, words have meaning. Words have value. Even if it's just devar, just a word, an empty word, which doesn't really have legal impact, still take care to show how important it is. Don't just discount it without a hafaras and davar. Another application to this pasuk, layachal devari. One cannot profane his words. We learn from it that even a chacham, who typically can do hafaras and davar for other people, or hataras and davar for other people, he can't do hatar on his own words. Layachal devari. You need somebody else to sort of, uproot what you said. That's why the chacham has to say mutar. His words will now fix up what you said. And therefore, you can't do it on your own. You need somebody else to do it for you. In fact, the Gemara learns based on the pasuk of Loshan Chachamim Marpi, the words of Chachamim bring healing. You need to go to a Chacham whose words will now provide remedy for your words expressed as a neder. Okay, so that's the end of the brayso. We have the opening klal, the distinction between inin nefesh, b'nei l'beina. Then we have 4 examples, 4 levels of nedarim. Some he could do hafara, some he can't. Some it's a partial, some he doesn't even need to do hafara according to Tanakam. Rabbi Yehuda says do it in any case to show, the chashivas of words. Okay, so how does that pertain to our question? It says the Gemara, Man shamini le do amar, shalei ekchal, v'shalei efkais, dvarim sheb'nei l'beina havyan. Who is the author of this brayso? We have a halacha in the brayso that an isha who promises to abstain from beautification, from maintaining your hair, and etc., that's not classified as dvarim shal inu nefesh. Rather, the brayso clearly says it's called dvarim sheb'nei l'beina. It's downgraded. It's a lower level concern. Right? It has the ability to get in the way of their relationship. And that allows them to do hafara. Hafara in as much as it impacts him. Right? This can't be the Tanakama. This can't be the Rabbanan and the Mishnah who say that, lack of grooming is called Inin Nefesh. Here the Brisa is not considered to be Inin Nefesh. Only Dvarim Shebinei Lebina. Who's speaking? Apparently that's Rabbi Yasi, who does not consider lack of personal hygiene to be Inin Nefesh. Ukatani, what does the Brisa tell us? Even though it's not Inin Nefesh, it is something. It is Hafara enabled. Uktani de Mayfair. Why? Mishum Devarim Shebinei Lebina. There's a conclusion. It's not Inin Nefesh, but it is considered Devarim Shebinei Lebina, in which case he could do Hafara. And of course, as we learned in the beginning of the parak, by Inin Nefesh, it's an absolute Hafara. The nether is gone forever, pertaining to me, pertaining to you, pertaining to other people. But Binei Lebina is only in as much as it affects me. So, for instance, if she goes and marries somebody else, the nether is reactivated. But at least we see this much, according to Rabbi Yasi, these activities or lack of are considered Binei Lebina, which enables Hafaras and Darim based on that idea of Binei Lebina. One more thing we want to explain. Let's go back to the Brisa. She says, I'm not going to interact with you as married. So Yafer, he should do the Hafara. Mishum Dvarim Shebinei Lebina. Right? It's classified as Binei Lebina. 1 second. She's committed to that. Why? How could she make a neder? The neder doesn't hold water at all. Hey Chidami, what exactly did she say? Is it that she said, Hanos Tash Mishi Alecha? The benefit of interacting with me should be usher on you. That's what she's saying. She can't do that. It's not in her control. It's not her ability to make it usher on him. She's already committed by way of marriage. Why does the husband even have to bother doing hafara? She's bound to him. That can't be the case. That wouldn't require hafara altogether. Ella rather was speaking by merits when she's saying like this. I'm not making myself usher on you. Rather, the other way around. I am proclaiming that you're usher on me. Now we're stuck. Hanas tashmish shcha alai. The benefit that I have from interacting with you is usher to me. That she can do. Ukrav kahana, domrav kahana, hanas tashmishi alecha. Both sides here. If she says that no of interacting with me should be usher on you, she has no right to do that. She's committed to him. Kaifa, so you can compel her, mishamashtoi, and she'll interact with him as married. She can't preempt that experience. She has no right to do that. She's bound to him. She's committed to him. But the other way around, that she can do. Hanas tashmishcha alai. If she says the benefit of interacting with you should be usher to me, that she can do. Yafer. Now he has to do hafara in order to free her of this neder. Why? She'ein machilin esa adam davar asur loy. We have no right to force feed a person something which is usher to him. He can't interact with her as married because he is giving her that hana which is usher to her. That explains the brisa. That's what happened, and that's why you need hafara. One more thing. Mantana, who is the author of the following halacha? Hadasanya dvarim amitarim. You see people, engaging in activities which are really mutter. And then you find people who accepted upon themselves an isser regarding those activities. Right? So they initiated isser, they were machmer for whatever reason. Be careful. Have respect for their customs. It's not right for you to display heter in front of them, to ignore their minig. Go along with them. Don't downplay the value of their commitment, even though really, technically, it's mutter. But if they're treating it as usher, respect them for it. Don't be noig heter k'dei levatan in order to, nullify their commitment, to disregard what they're doing and make it batal. You can't do that. Some say it's Rabbana, just not smachta, it's a remes from the pasuk. Well, yachal dvar, even if it's just words, with no real legal value. They just have a minig of isser. Treat them with respect. Don't try to be involved. Lo yachal dvar. Davar acher, another interpretation of this pasuk. Lo yachal dvar means mekan latamot chacham she'ein mefer nedrei atzma. We learn from here, a person cannot undo his own nether. You need to come on to the services of another chacham who do it for you. Who's speaking in this brisa? This corresponds to the last part of our brisa, where Rabbi Gamliel says, number one, An Isha makes a neder which doesn't really hold water. It's going against her commitment. It's not really a neder still. Don't just discard it. Do hafara. Lo yachal dvarit. Show importance, show value of dibur. And number two, he said, we had another pshat, the same halacha that a chacham can't undo his own neder. So this brisa, which pretty much mirrors that, the concept mentioned by Rabbi Gamliel in the previous brisa, in fact, is Mani. Who is this? Rabbi Gamliel. This must be Rabbi Gamliel speaking, who presented us with the same concept in our brisa. So what did we learn today? Hygiene, how important it is. In fact, it was number one on the list sent from Eretz Yisrael. Hizo Baravisa, learn with Chabura, and appreciate the Bnei Aniyim, who are prime candidates for growth in Torah. We learned about the importance of Birchas HaTorah with proper kavanah. A friend of mine just told me that his father, Orlav Al-Shalom, used to have a beautiful minhag when he said the Birchas HaTorah. And he said the words of V'harav no Hashem, sweeten the words of Torah in my mouth and in the mouths of my children. Tzedze'enu. He used to pause and mentally review all his kids and grandchildren by name. Hashem. Let them all experience the sweetness of Torah. So his Birchas HaTorah took very long. In fact, it came up because somebody once asked him, somebody who hadn't slept that night and needed somebody to be moitzi him with Birchas HaTorah. So he approached this fellow. He says, can I listen to your Birchas HaTorah? He says, I'll be glad to do it for you, but it takes me a little longer. And he explained to him why, and he suggested he find somebody else. A beautiful minhag. To have that kavanah, Birchas HaTorah, to connect to Hashem and ask Hashem that by internalizing the Torah, by appreciating the Torah, that Torah should get passed on from myself to my kids. Amen. Okay, so lack of rechitza, etc., according to Tanakam, is called ini nefesh, which allows the husband to step in and cancel the neder. Rabbi Yossi says no. Lack of rechitza is not ini nefesh, but as we proved in the Gemara later, it is called b'nei lebino, which allows him limited access to the neder. We concluded with a Gemara which highlighted the importance, the chashivas of dibur, and even a minhag, which isn't really substantiated in the Torah, but a minhag that people are noyeg isser. Take care and give them honor and respect. Lo yachal dvarim. B'suras tovos, and may we all have much, much hatzlacha.